Oh, hello, my friends. It's Andy and Hedieh coming to you live from Yorba Linda, California for the Living Fearless Devotional.
A production of resurrectministry.com. We're harnessing the power of the internet to share the gospel throughout the world. And we have all kinds of resources for you to check out on the website. We have books you may like, worship bands you may never heard of, pastors you may want to listen to. We have a comment section where we answer your questions directly. We love to hear from you. If you have a prayer request or you would like to pray for us, we love that. So please drop us a line. And if we can help, we'd be happy to. If this ministry blesses you in any way, feel free to click the donate now button and drop a couple pennies in the bucket.
Now, I know there's a limit to how much we can do this, but I do enjoy the times that some of our followers from all over the world have emailed us or called and then had opportunities. We had an opportunity to talk to one of our followers last night. It was awesome. Yeah, just catching up and learning what's been going on. And
very cool.
We both hear the struggle and we hear the positives, and it's a blessing to be able to know that somehow
awesome we've
been a part of that.
Yeah, really and cool. Just getting to meet people in person sometimes too. It's fantastic. So we love it.
So amazing.
Don't hesitate to reach out.
Hey, so make one thing, we may have a coughing fit. Hedieh and I have both been sick at the same time. Can I tell you how great it is to be sick with you at the same time?
Really?
We get through a lot of movies and TV shows.
Well, you know what Becky said? She said it's called the 100-day cough.
The 100-day cough.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. So we're free from the Bless Fest.
Yes,
it's
we're
understood.
Saved. We're saved, but we may have this horrible hacking cough for 100 days, at least.
No.
Yes.
So if we begin to cough, we apologize. There's nothing we can do about it. But make sure that when you're watching that you comment and let us know what it is you think about our topic today. We're going to be talking about Trump's cabinet and the people he selected, and we're not going to cover all of them. There's a lot of people.
Yeah.
We would be here for 24
just the ones that are interesting to us.
And so, of course, they're interesting to you. But make sure you comment along the way. And if there's anything that you want to add to our discussion, please feel free to do so. Oh, we already got 10 comments and we just started.
Nice.
But yeah, let us know what you think. And then if you have any prayer requests, make sure you put your prayer requests into the chat. That way we can make sure to include that prayer at the end of the show when we end in prayer. And then we have our sponsors, LifeWise. One of those great companies that has a great Christian foundation, and Jesus is the CEO. So make sure and check them out. They have great supplements that will help you, whatever you need help with. It's in LifeWise. Go to livelifewise.tv, and then Streamyard. That is what we use to go live to you every day that we're on. And so make sure and check it out, because if you have something you want to share with others, you can do it through Streamyard, and you'll be able to do it on all the social media platforms at the same time, like us. We're on the Facebooks, the YouTubes, the LinkedIn's, the all the internet's socials, medias.
Oh my goodness, you sound like an Arab that just came over a couple of weeks ago, like my family members.
Do they use the Googles?
Yeah.
No, okay.
That's how they speak, because it doesn't translate over when you change the.
Yes. Oh man, I was hoping. Oh, there she is. Hey, Coco. Hey, guess what? It is Corrine's birthday today.
Woohoo!
She's 37 years old.
Oh, it's 10 p.m. She's visiting. Wait, are you visiting Mom still? Oh wow.
It is your birthday. Happy birthday.
Yeah, Andy said it's your birthday, so you're visiting Mom on your birthday. Wow. I love that.
Well, she actually had a hand in it.
In
Corrine's birth.
Oh, her mom. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I was like, what?
Hello, Carrie. Nice to see you.
Hello, Carrie.
Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
And
Lisa
Hernandez eating some churros.
And Lisa's. I don't know what's Andy on today, but
your amazing coffee.
Yeah.
Your amazing coffee does that.
My tea, you mean?
Yes.
Remind us about your book. Oh, yes. Okay. So book launch, the first book launch is December 10th, and it is the ebook. So it's the 99-cent ebook for 24 hours. And the publisher explained to me we do the ebook launch and the paperback separately so that it hits an Amazon #1 bestseller. So You're going to get an email from me. And if I don't have your email address, please messenger it to me or send it through email, whatever's easiest for you, before December 8th. That I would appreciate it. And then you'll get the little link, and it would really, truly be a blessing to me if you could splurge the 99 cents on Amazon and buy the ebook.
And if there's any question about it, everybody's doing it. All your favorite Fox personalities who launch books, they all do the same thing. Pastors all do the same thing. And it is just a strategy to get the book out there to as many hands as possible in the ebook version to get that #1 best-selling status. And then the paper book comes out, and everybody gets to enjoy the paper book at the beach. So please understand that that's just the way things are going these days. That's the way technology is working.
Look at that. You made Yvonne want some churros.
Yeah.
Carrie's saying she's asking friends to hit the 99. Thank you so much.
That's great.
And Corinne's freezing her rear end in Illinois for another 10 days. Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. Oh, and her birthday's on the 4th, and she had the big 90th birthday for her. Yeah, okay. So I thought I remember you telling me it's her birthday. How sweet. So you have birthdays in common. Close together, at least.
So for our show today, we're going to be talking about Trump's cabinet and who he's bringing on. And I got to say, just off the bat, I'm happy with just about everybody. And not just because I like Trump.
Right.
I mean, everybody makes mistakes. Trump's obviously not perfect. But I think it's important for us to first discuss, if we can, how whatever President Trump is doing with his policies and whatever he makes decisions to do and how he runs the country to, putting the right cabinet in place and what they plan on doing. What is it that as a Christian, what's one of the things on the top of your mind that Christians should take into consideration, whether it's involvement or prayer or what have you? What is it? What's one of the things you think is most important about this?
Well, I think we got into the whole woke mind virus problem because Christians went to sleep. We basically handed the government over to radical leftist atheist people, and we're just kind of like, yeah, whatever. And we turned around and we're like, oh no, now what? And everybody had to like mobilize, and then we had the rise of the conservative movement, and then there was like all of this machinery that was put into place. And so what's of concern to me, and I hope is to every faithful believer, is that we don't fall asleep on the job again. Is that we have to stay vigilant, and that we have to always remember there is a separation between church and state, in the sense that we are the church. So we are beholden to God and the laws of heaven. And that we stay loyal to those. We understand that government, we did not choose a savior, we chose a president. Our savior is Jesus Christ. So we will judge him through that lens, and that we still hold values. He may do things that we do not approve of as Christians, and that we need to remain watchmen on the wall. And we must remain discerning and stand up against things that are wrong. And continue to be outspoken about what is good and what is bad. Yep. We have to be willing to confess when it's wrong, and to advocate for better policies when it's wrong.
Absolutely. I realized that we did not pull up our slides, so we will have to figure that out as we are.
Oh yeah, I could do that
as we are going. But of course, I agree with everything you said. I think we also have learned our lesson from remaining silent. The other day we saw the movie Bonhoeffer,
right?
Which, of course, if you know your history, we were already talking about before the movie came out, that the biggest mistake of the Christian faith during World War II was that they stayed silent.
Exactly.
And did not speak out. So hopefully we didn't learn our lessons in World War II. Because when all this stuff started to happen, but quite significantly during Obama, we just kind of let them do their thing. The demonic, the people that were for abortion, for a whole number of things, and then the wokeness begins to come in. The tragedy of our public schools begins to become more apparent. That it's been happening for decades, but it really became more apparent more recently, and we still somewhat stayed silent. There's still a number of churches that either stayed silent or went along with it, which is even worse.
Right.
Like, oh no, we don't want to be mean to anybody, so we're going to just say that it is okay for 2 women to get married and 2 men to get married, or what have you. And so the good news, I hope, out of all of that is that some people woke up
Right.
from being woke. They actually woke up and said, you know what, we can't do that again, because what we are seeing, we've heard of some areas of revival in the faith, and I just showed you today that I saw a news report that said from the Wall Street Journal saying that there's a boom on Bibles. The Bibles are selling
Awesome.
faster than they have in a very, very long time. I don't remember exact number, but it's significant enough for people to notice.
Yes.
And so we see some good stuff coming out of it. So let's just hope that remains.
Yeah.
But we can't go back to sleep
Can't go back to sleep.
like we've done for thousands of years.
Right.
Maybe this is the time. Do you think this is the time we finally change?
You'd like to think so. You'd like to think so. Well, and Yvonne brings up the Establishment Clause. The state cannot dictate a national religion, and that's what it means. And people have been misinterpreting it for decades. But as I put in my last article, as someone who's participated in many government programs that had great intentions that go horribly wrong, it does send me a pang of concern when Trump and anybody else says we're going to start praying in school. Because, my brain says, pray what? Because right now you're like, oh, okay, well, it's Trump. He doesn't necessarily believe in Jesus. He believes in God. It's probably going to be a Christian prayer. But what about 4 years from now? What if it's a Catholic prayer? Or what about it's Vivek that runs and it's a Hindu prayer? Bringing prayer back in school does not necessarily mean it's going to stay a Christian prayer. So it's little things like these that we have to be aware of and constantly be sure that we're discerning about what we think is okay and not okay in light of a country that is free. And remember, our ancestors, the forefathers of the United States, ran away from state religion. And when you see Bonhoeffer's movie, you will see how dangerous state religion becomes, because it was the state church of Germany that basically advocated, that was the support behind Nazi Germany. They removed Christian symbols from the church. They changed the Bible. And it was one of, the devastating consequences of the church not remaining absolutely separate and not part of a state religion, not controlled by the state.
Yep.
You don't ever want religion controlled by the state. Trust me when I tell you. I've been involved in religion and government for a long time. You don't ever want the state controlling religion.
So do you think, could I put you on record for saying that you think that public schools should stay secular, but allow kids to bring Bibles to school, allow the kids to bring their
I love
faith
church
to
on the
school?
curb. I love allowing chicken, Christian clubs.
Yeah.
They should be able to equally compete with other programs on campus. They should be allowed to bring guest speakers. It all has to be voluntary. I mean, think of it this way. Just think of all your kids' teachers. How many of them would you like to see pray on behalf of the kids in the class?
Oh,
right.
What was the prayer we had in California? It included Satan or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't you which one of them would
Yeah.
you actually? I think that we have one that we would, off the top of our head, entrust with a prayer in our class.
I have 2 or 3. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But other than that, would you ever want them praying anything over your child?
No.
So just the thought of the implementation process is dicey.
Yeah, I mean, and again, they're. I don't want to. I'm not putting them down necessarily, but my ex-wife was pregnant, and a family member came over to pray, and I was thinking, I brought this up before. I was thinking, what could go wrong with prayer? And I know some great Mormons of LDS, but when I started hearing the prayer, I go, oh, that's not good. I mean, not good because that's not our faith.
Exactly.
That's not the God.
Exactly. When they say, but that's why I tell you when Vivek says, I believe in God, I'm like, what God
Yeah,
are
that
you
kinda throws you
referring to?
right. Wow. So,
There's that.
so
We
we-
have some interesting comments
sorry.
too. Kareen says, I do want prayer back in school, but I do want the pledge back. Amen. That is part of our, I want the national anthem. I want the pledge. I want civics, everything that has to do with our founding fathers, everything that has to do with the beginning of this nation. We want our kids educated on what it means to be an American. And that was definitely, a horrible consequence of the woke virus to take that out of schools. Yvonne said, I don't want prayer in government schools. I want to keep the government's nose out of private schools. Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That too.
That's awesome.
And Kate says, good point. Thank you, Kate. And Lisa says, out of 18,000 churches, only 3,000 became the confessing church and the rest sold out to the state. Yeah. See? Scary. Yvonne says, if you include one group, you must include all, and that's unacceptable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a freedom of religion, you know. Hedieh's laugh. Is that my my 100-day cough laugh? It's horrible.
We got weird coughs.
Oh my goodness. Pledge. Yes to the pledge.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, now I got to actually change the background really quick because that's going to be very irritating to see all those little squares. All right, so we have our we have those that need to be confirmed by the Senate, and then those that don't.
Okay.
So we'll be covering the different ones, and we'll be going over first the ones that require confirmation. Again, we're not going to go through all of these, but I just want. I mean, of course, I love Pam Bondi. I've been following her around a lot because she's constantly on Fox, and we hear stories about what she's doing in Florida and what she did for President Trump during the impeachments and stuff like that. She's fantastic, a great speaker. You got Kristi Noem. I'm not really that. I mean, I like Kristi Noem for the most part. And being a dog trainer, the story about shooting the dog wasn't really that big of a deal to me. I know it shocks people, but that's kind of what's done on the farms and things like that. That's just the way that it's always been done. And I don't think that she's a horrible person. I just think that's how you're raised to deal with animals that are problematic. Yeah. And that's just the way it's always been. But I don't know enough of her background to know what she knows about Homeland Security.
I don't know anything.
Me either.
Yeah.
I tried to look some stuff up. I still don't see the connection with Homeland Security. That one's a little odd for me.
Yeah.
I would have think of something like agriculture or something like that, because she is a farmer, goes way back as a farmer, her whole family. So
interesting.
Yeah, I'm really not quite sure about that.
I thought that was something I just missed.
I do love John Ratcliffe for the CIA.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Absolutely.
And Tulsi Gabbard, we know her from leaving the Democratic Party, being really outspoken about what they did to her after they found out how fantastic she was. And Hillary Clinton really tried to assassinate her character and tried to make her go away. Yeah. But she's come back better than ever. She was on the no-fly list, and it's really funny that she's on the no-fly list and now she's in charge of DNI. Right. That's pretty fantastic. What about you? Anybody that stand out that you want to start talking about?
Well, Mehmet Oz, I think he's superbly qualified also for Medicare. Great position for him. Robert Kennedy, can we talk a little bit about what he wants for the health department? Is that where you want to start, since this is okay? So the first announcement I heard was that he wants ketchup to be made with cane sugar and no more high fructose corn syrup. Oh, so if high on his agenda, as we know, is make America healthy again, is to get rid of high fructose corn syrup, I'm all with it. Yeah. A lot of people I know are talking about, we don't want to start banning foods, so that we don't want this to end up like book banning, where we suddenly can't get Cheetos anymore because Kennedy has banned Cheetos. Like, I don't want anybody making mandatory choices for me. I live in America. You could put a big black label on it that says, warning, this is going to kill you, but I want to be able to buy the Cheetos. Really? Yeah. I feel strongly about them banning food. If
can you take the dye out of it? Because that really is the killer to kids. That's the thing that causes them behavioral problems.
No, that's not the only thing.
Well, it's one of the things that you need to
clogging their arteries. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you go down that road and you start saying, okay, well, it's the hydrogenated oils and it's giving kids high cholesterol and diabetes at a very early age, then do you ban them? No more Doritos, no more Cheetos. Every kid has to eat apples.
No,
I don't know.
no, but other
I don't know how
countries
you guys feel.
have
It totally
form,
freaks me out.
They probably have a form of Cheetos because I mean, you've traveled like I have in Europe. I have no problem eating the food. Back when I was drinking the alcohol, but none of that made me sick like the food does here in the United States.
Yeah,
because of the certain types of chemicals that you can't pronounce. Those are the ones mostly that he's saying that he's going to take out of. They're going to make them illegal, like they do in Europe. You can't use those chemicals, which is going to change the consistency and the flavor. And that's where people go, you know, how long do I have to live with this nasty tasting? It used to taste good.
Yes. But again, it could be a slippery slope. It starts with red dye 40. And then before you know it, there's no hydrogenated oils. There's no high fructose corn syrup. And all of our kids are eating cuties. You know what I mean? Or just you're even forced to eat the cuties. So
it's okay. I'm on carnivore right now. So
yeah,
as long as
exactly.
it's meat.
Exactly. Well, and there's also all these like sweeping reforms apparently that he wants to do in the FDA. We all know how much he hates vaccines, that he wants to gut
Not all
the
vaccines.
FDA. Not all vaccines, but a lot of them.
Yep.
Not just the COVID one.
Right.
He doesn't want the baby ones. He doesn't like a lot of the polio and some of the other ones that were administered to children, to very young children. So there's a lot. There's a big shakeup that's planned. So I'm just, I'm going to hold out judgment until I see it. I think we're all kind of wary of government overreach. And so I definitely don't want to see this pendulum swinging the crazy other direction either. So we'll see. I don't know about this whole raw milk thing. Apparently he's really big on raw milk too.
Yeah, well, I just brought up that he's not against all vaccines because he said that when we were watching with Tucker, when we were at the Honda Center.
Yeah.
Tucker and Kennedy and us and 3,000 other people, however many other people were there. But he said that on interviews too, to make sure that he goes, hey, listen, there are some vaccines that we absolutely need, but not 65 by the time you're you're 2 years old.
Right. Kareen says gnome baffles her too. And then Carrie says, gnome, my problem is her dental ads. Yvonne says, educate people, and that's important. And Lisa says, I feel like RFK broke the curse over his family by moving in the opposite spirit, but pray for him. They want him gone. Yes, absolutely true. Absolutely true. Lisa says, we need to pray for the safety of Trump and his entire administration.
Absolutely.
That's true too, for sure. Lisa said his taste is chemical and it affects the brain. Is that the dyes she's referring to?
Not sure.
And
we didn't mention seed oils, did we? No, we didn't.
No, we didn't even talk about the seed oils yet. I am more for RFK based on my research into food and jobs. Yeah, it's a big thing.
The one thing is that with everybody, because the left likes to just go, well, they're incompetent, they're against everything, and we just hate them. We're not going to agree 100% with everybody on everything.
Right.
If the majority of the things that he is, promoting or going to promote is healthy, then we can get behind that. And then we can argue about the things that we don't like that he's done. There's always room for that. That's why that's America. We can say, could you just put a little bit more of the flavor back in the Cheetos?
No, I don't want somebody determining the flavor of my Cheetos. I don't even eat Cheetos, folks. I don't eat them. I literally don't eat them. I just don't like the idea of somebody dramatically altering. And you know how rigid I am with food. And yet I still do not want somebody eliminating my choices.
All right.
There may be Maria says raw milk is fantastic. Kareen's saying sorry, but leave my red dye alone. See? It's like a thing. I want gummies. I want red gummies. I don't eat 4,000 of them, so I don't understand why it's such a big deal. But anyway,
there's a lot of room that with vaccines and some of the regulations for pharmaceuticals that say that you can't sue them no matter how many people they kill. Those things are some of the things that need to go away.
That's not right either. Yeah,
because nobody does better without that hanging over their head. That possible lawsuit.
Okay, so next.
Doug Collins for Veterans Affairs. I think that's fantastic. Our veterans have been left behind for far too long, and I think he's going to do a great job of cleaning that up.
Awesome. I don't know anything about him.
Scott Besson
Don't know anything about him.
He's
either.
gay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Is he smart though?
Yes, very smart.
Because
But see,
I don't want him
do you see
around
how-
my kids, but as long
No.
as he's smart.
No, he's perfectly fine. But do you see how you shocked you were?
Yeah.
Because that's
Oh,
not
but
the
we had
important
that
part.
other guy.
That's not the important thing.
Yeah.
With the in our past administration,
looks like a
the
dude
first
still.
thing, they had to be gay and they had to be a minority of
Trans
some
and-
sort, and they had to, be a man who wore a dress. And then if they knew how to, tie their shoes, then we would let them in.
Yeah.
But no, he's fantastic. Although he did work with Soros, he was a part of Soros's team, his investment team.
Yikes.
Yeah. But again, I think that there's nothing wrong with that. If he
Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary.
oh,
Yvonne.
yeah, sorry about that, Scott Bessent, Treasury. But yeah, he's fully out gay. But you wouldn't. He talks. You don't even. He's
Like
he's not,
Mike Gorell.
He's not flamboyant.
Mike Gorell was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, same thing. Fantastic people that know what they're doing, and he's going to do a great job. But again, back to Soros, is that he's been all around it all. He knows it all. He knows how they operate and what their
Good.
agendas are and what they want to do, and then he knows what Trump wants, and he's all for Trump's policies.
Great.
So he's going to support him.
Our church fam here seemed to like Lee Zeldin.
Yeah, Lee Zeldin's another good one.
I don't know anything about him.
Lee. Yeah, he ran for governor for New York.
Oh, okay.
Just barely missed it. I mean, there has to be
Just this last
Yep,
term
against Falco. I'm sure he would have won if there would have been a fair election and they would have had voter ID, because that's how close it was. If they had voter ID and it was a fair election, he would have.
It's like, do we need to know that they're gay? Like, do we need?
Right.
No, we don't need to know. But apparently, it eventually comes out. It's like, oh, so and so. Oh, and by the way, they're gay.
Yep.
I think it's just, as opposed to you must be gay, you must be trans, and therefore maybe I'll put you at Treasury because you hit all the other DEI qualifications.
But the only reason I said it, and I probably didn't make that clear, is that because I wasn't sure if you knew.
No.
But that's the important thing. Who cares? It just said it came up in a disc. Somebody said, first openly gay. I think it was probably CNN. Like nobody at Fox, I think, brought it up. It's just, it's not that important. Is he good? Is he going to do what is right and follow
Yes.
the agenda of President Trump? Let's see.
Oh.
Culture. You know anything about Brooke Rollins?
I do not.
No.
I know nothing about her.
Mystery. Sean
Yes.
Duffy for Transportation Secretary. Number one, he's gonna be way better than Mayor Pete, who took what was it called when you're pregnant and then you take off time? What is that called? Maternity leave.
Oh,
He took
wow.
maternity leave and he wore a plastic boob so he could feed his child, him and his man.
Sean Duffy?
No, Mayor Pete.
Oh. I was like, what? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he was barely at work. He was busy.
Maternity leave.
He was Betty.
Rick Grinnell. That's his
Rick
name.
Grinnell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did I call him?
I don't know.
John Rich
Grinnell. I heard the Grinnell part.
I heard Grinnell too. You never know.
But I
with
do
you.
like Sean Duffy. He's got a great background, former congressman. He was a host on one of the business shows on Fox Business. And,
Okay, we're going to have to go
very smart.
quicker because I got a lot of people
Yeah.
that aren't even on this list.
Oh, right. We've got to that part. Let's see.
Oh, yeah.
Matthew Whitaker for NATO. Amazing. He's an amazing guy. Love listening to him talk. I'll skip. Let's see who else is. Oh, you know who I'm concerned about those?
I love Rick Grinnell and I'm disappointed he's gay.
Yeah. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's as Christians, we're like, it's just like any other sin. Anybody that openly wears their sin, you just be like, I really like, John, but he's an alcoholic.
Yeah.
It's just, you're like, wow, that's kind of a bummer.
Surgeon General Janelle Neshwet. I can never say her name. Neshwet. I'm not really happy with her.
Oh,
She was for masking, getting your vaccinations. She was one person on Fox that would come on and tell everybody to make.
How did we end up with her?
She's a great speaker. I think she's come around a little bit to realize that maybe some of those things were not as necessary. I'm not 100. I don't know, but I hear a lot of people do like her in that position, but I don't like what she did during COVID. She was, they'd have the contrary people come on once in a while.
Yeah, sure.
And I felt that oftentimes she was that person. And,
Lisa saying there's a former Soros person. Is that the Treasury guy? Yes, I believe that's it.
Yep. What do you think about Mike Huckabee for Ambassador to Israel.
Absolutely love Mike Huckabee for ambassador to Israel because he's, of course, like one of our nation's greatest advocates for Israel. So I love that. I think putting him up against what we'll talk about, Mossad Bolos, Trump's daughter Tiffany's father-in-law, who I mistakenly said was a Muslim. By the way, he is not. He's a Lebanese Greek Orthodox. He is not a Muslim, and he was navigating those relationships with the Arab Muslims for Trump. It's kind of a convoluted story that I will try to explain. Should I do that now, or will we do it later? Okay. So the reason I'm bringing Bolos up is because he'll be going head to head with Huckabee. So we have this very staunch Christian supporter of Israel on one side.
And Bolos is going to be what again?
He's advisor for Mideast Affairs.
Oh, okay.
So he's basically senior advisor, representative for Mideast Affairs, brokering those relationships.
So, well, I'm sorry, I just want to understand his job, his role. So he'll be working out of the White House with President Trump.
Yes.
And then President Trump sends him to the Middle East to convey the message. And you can trust him to do that. That's okay. Okay.
So I had put out, after I did a whole bunch of research thinking that he was a Muslim because he was brokering all these Muslim relationships, I saw Bolos's connection to the traditional usual suspects in the Syrian Lebanese party, the Brotherhood operatives that have been around for decades, that have been wreaking havoc since before 9/11. He was going back to those same usual suspects. And I was like, wow, that is odd. They are the power brokers of Muslim politics. And I was thinking, and I assumed he was Muslim because they never allow an interlocutor that is not a Muslim, except his background connects him to Lebanese politics, where the Christian representatives of Lebanese politics at the highest level are associated with Hezbollah. So Lebanon, as I explained at some point, is a confessional government, and they rely on alliances in order to form a ruling party government. And the Christians often, Michael Aoun and then later Frangia, like Frangia's election to president, must be a Christian, their president, was endorsed by Nasrallah, by Hezbollah. So the Christians historically aligned with Hezbollah against the Sunnis. I know, doesn't make intuitive sense, but that's what historically happens. So Bolos's family is associated with those high-profile Christian parliamentarians and politicians that are associated to Hezbollah.
Mm-hmm.
So put him on one side and put Huckabee on the other, and then put Seb negotiating between the two of them.
Dr. Seb Gorka.
Yes. So my friend Sebastian Gorka will be the director of counterterrorism at the White House. So that whole world will be part of his portfolio as well.
Wow. Back to, say his name again. Boba?
Bolus.
Boba is what the kids eat in the cup.
Yes. Boulos.
Bolus. How significant is the fact that he's Trump's daughter's father-in-law, that he got that position? Do you think that has anything to do with it at all?
Of course.
The majority part of it?
Majority.
A little bit? A majority.
A majority part. I mean, he's a billionaire.
Mm.
He's a very closely aligned. Okay. So part of Israel's biggest obstacle right now is Lebanon, right? So it's not just the Palestinian question, but it's the Lebanese question, because that's where Hezbollah is. So the fact that he has influence over Hezbollah is significant. And so I could see Trump, the art of the deal, being like, okay, great, this guy's going to help me negotiate. But my concern is always, well, at what cost? Will our national security suffer? Will our empowering of extremist groups be on the rise? There's a whole bunch of secondary consequences, I think, that we need to see beyond the Israel question.
So good. But we're going to hope that the strength that is built in all these other areas of our government will be there to support maybe the occasional bad decision.
So
is that
like, for example, I can literally imagine that they will be doing a Muslim community meeting at the White House, as they have done all the time in every presidency. And Seb and me have historically, for 2 decades, fought over that guest list, like with outsiders being like, people should not be invited, blah, blah, blah. I could see Seb getting that guest list and being like, what in the world are these people doing on this list? And then he would have to go and answer to Bullis, because it will be Bullis that put them on the list. So who's going to outrank who? Like, I don't want those people around the president and him being like, oh no, those are my friends. So,
Yeah.
I just can imagine. And everyone's like, why don't you want to go back in government? For that exact reason right there. I don't want to go. I want no part of that. No part of that. Yeah, so it'll be fun. It'll be fun to watch. And then Huckabee on the other side being like, they're all terrorists. I want nothing to do with any of them.
Suddenly our thing is frozen up. We can't bring him up.
Oh no. Lisa said she's also keeping her eye on that Surgeon General lady.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
None of our buttons are working.
Oh no, none of them are working.
If we have to, we can refresh if we have to, but that means we'll lose the feed for just a few moments. But let's continue. I don't necessarily.
But we can't bring up our slide. Okay.
No.
So who do you want to talk about next? We did Bullis, and we did.
You made the connection. We did Huckabee, Bullis, and Seb together. Did anything more you want to talk about with Seb? You work together. You guys, just for people that are watching for the first time, you work together.
Oh, for a long time.
Yeah.
So we did it. He was also around before it was cool. He was teaching in the military, if I'm not mistaken, before 9/11 or right after. That's when we got to know each other. I think it was when I was at AEI in 2003.
What's AEI?
American Enterprise Institute, now considered a neocon think tank. And it's funny because Candace rousted him on her broadcast saying, why in the world would he have picked Seb? He's a neocon. Absolutely not true. Seb is the farthest thing from being a neocon. Actually, during G6, if you recall, he was the one screaming, this is the way revolutions are started, telling people to storm the Capitol. So he's definitely not a neocon, but a supremely well-educated and aware of the threats that face our nation. And so I can sleep easy knowing he's at the helm.
That's good. I hate to tell you this, but you can't even look at your notes right now.
I see that.
So we're going to be going blind as we go forward.
Yeah.
We're still on. That I can see, because I can see us on Instagram. We're still on. So sorry about that, folks. We can't bring up comments or our slides.
Yeah.
But can you explain what a neocon is?
Oh, okay. So a neocon is what they're referring to as a neoconservative. So we know rhinos. What does the rhino actually stand for?
Right. Republican in name only.
Okay. So that's a name that was given to people that they felt were not actually supporting the conservative cause. But neocons, that title, a neoconservative, was given to the Republicans during Bush, who basically started the expansionist doctrine, where we were basically taking over countries and establishing bastions of democracy. And what happened is, when Trump won, the neoconservative establishment, which was basically controlling the Republican Party up until that time, did not support Trump. And so they came to butt heads when he was looking for appointments. So when he was trying to put in appointments, any of the neoconservatives that he put into power, first of all, he didn't want most of them. And then some snuck through, like John Bolton, and it was an absolute disaster. Yeah. And so there's been this kind of longstanding rift now between Billy Crystal, John Bolton, Doug Feith, all of the traditional neoconservatives. But what makes them distinct from Trump? They're pro-war, very, very much pro-war. They're all supported by the big military-industrial complex. They're old Republican establishment for the most part, since Nixon.
Yeah, we don't need any of them. All right, I figured out it is our mouse that's not working.
That's pretty funny.
We got through. Did we get through these people?
Well, I
Let's
mean,
see.
you like to comment on a lot of them anyways, but I think
Scott
we should
Turner
move.
is a former football player for housing. He's going to be really good. He's really into making sure that lower income people have the same opportunity. What was it? The opportunity zones
Right.
were created last time. I think he's going to be a big part of that too.
That's great.
Blanche, I know of him, but I don't know enough to comment on him. I've seen him talk, and he talks really good. Let's just hope that that's good enough. And then we got down here to the bottom. We got let's see. None of these names.
Charles Kushner. We have Jared Kushner's dad.
Oh, we'll get to that in a minute. Oh yeah, let's go to him first. He's an interesting duck. Another
Sussy.
Family member. The father-in-law,
a little nepotism going on
to one of Trump's other daughters,
to the other daughter,
and Kirshner, the son,
yes.
at 25 years of age, he bought the 666 building in New York, and then immediately after he bought it, the market crashed, and then he had to try to sell it. So he got a little controversy about how he went about doing that.
Okay,
and so that's why there's people that don't really like him. And then Trump brought him into his administration, and then put him like in charge of Middle East stuff, and help broker, I guess, somewhat the Abraham Accord. At least Trump gave him some credit.
We're
for
talking
that.
about the son right now.
The son
owned the 666 building.
Yeah, because Dad went to jail. That's what I was going to get to.
Oh, okay.
So then I was going to say, but all this happened because why? Because his dad went to jail.
And his dad because I know the Jared story, what he did during the government time too, but I didn't know it was he owned that building.
Yeah, but his dad going to jail gave him that, that stepping stone of being in charge of a huge empire of hundreds of buildings in New York, apartment buildings, that kind of stuff. But yeah, his dad went to jail for some bad management of his money and campaign stuff. And then and he was a Democrat, giving him the Democrat, people, candidates. And then but Trump ended up, after he served his time, Trump pardoned the dad.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of people that really don't think that this whole thing's very kosher. But
a lot of nepotism.
Another billionaire. Apparently does
what
a
I
lot
like
of,
about
lot
billionaires, but it's a double-edged sword. What I like about billionaires is they're not in it for greed necessarily, and they're obviously smart enough to make $1 billion. So you're kind of like, okay, you're obviously starting with a bigger deck than most people. But you are worried that they are about a deal, and they want to make even more money. It's never like, oh, I've made enough. It's always about personal enrichment at some point. So it worries me to make sure that they're doing this for the right reasons. And they'll always make judgment calls that are in the best interest of the country. We haven't even gotten to Doge yet. We got to hurry up.
Yeah, we will. But yeah, so there's some controversy about him, of course. And then we'll just go ahead and say Kash Patel, who got named yesterday or this morning. I can't remember. The days are starting to blend together. But this one we've been waiting, or at least I've been waiting for. I don't know about you, but I've been waiting for him to get named. Everybody just go, come on, just make him the FBI director.
Yes.
Let's make this happen. Because I believe he's just awesome. There's so many good things about him. And of course,
super smart.
The libs are going crazy saying that he's, unqualified.
Yeah, that's just what they say about everything, right?
Yeah.
And again, I am words of caution. I think that just taking a hammer to every system in government is worrisome to me. I understand the system is broken and we need to fix it, but taking a hammer to all of it just scares me. Because I don't think that you can do that without causing significant damage, unintended consequences to that, possibly that we have not anticipated what they are.
Well, when he talks about taking a hammer to it or a wrecking ball, he's really only talking about that top floor of FBI management.
Well, Hoover's more than the 7th floor. Hoover's 13,000 employees, I think.
Yeah, but he's really talking about that level, and then putting people that are willing to go back to work. And those that don't want to go back to work, they can leave. But he just leveling out those.
He said he wants to empty the whole building.
Hmm.
So,
well, empty the building for them to go out and work.
Well, let me clarify, because headquarters has the mandate to control the field offices.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I think he means is he wants to eliminate the DC mandate that controls the field offices. He wants the field offices to be more autonomous, because every field office hated having to report back to DC in order to do anything.
To make sure that it was in line with the Democratic Party.
And not necessarily just the Democratic Party, whatever the seventh floor was thinking at the time.
The deep state.
Yeah. Whatever the going idea was about one policy or another, you know. They couldn't get any momentum. They weren't allowed to run investigations or do operations without clearance from headquarters. And so he wants to just eliminate that control mechanism, that oversight, which is a little scary, because then every field office becomes its own fiefdom.
Well, yeah, I think what you're saying is true, that you can't just come in and explode everything. There has to be a plan with that.
Yes.
Like what has to happen first? What happens next? How do we begin to operate these individual satellite locations effectively? Does each one of them have their own chief?
Each one has an SAC, has a special agent in charge. Yes.
Yeah. But if anybody's going to do it. I mean, there's some people who just explode things and then they don't know how to make it work after that. Like, it's just like a bunch of pieces. I believe Cash has the ability and the knowledge and the intelligence to be able to pull this off.
God,
if anybody can do it, I think he can do it.
I'd like to think so.
Any comments you want to go to?
Yeah, Lisa's saying it's time for Reformation. Revival is church. Reformation is about society. May the Lord have his way.
Well, you know what? Actually, Lisa reminds me of something I was thinking about earlier and I forgot. Is there anything in the Bible that you can think of off the top of your head? I know you love it when I do this to you. That where something had to just be like, we just need to tear it down. And then, I mean, besides the world, when the rains came.
God's like, I hate this. I hate everything I created. I'm going to literally destroy it all. And he will do it again. He's going to do that again before he creates the New Jerusalem.
I you know, just really quick before we go on, is that I love how much is being done before President Trump even gets sworn in. So much is happening. I mean, I've been around for a while. I haven't paid attention to politics as much as I have since 2016. Because I'm trying to remember back when the Bushes were in power and Reagan was in power, who I was the first president I voted for. I just don't recall like a lot happening. Everybody just waited for January.
A 24-hour news cycle, so you didn't know.
Yeah, if anything was happening in the background. But Trump is talking to leaders of other countries. They're coming to Mar-a-Lago. He's having meetings. He's getting already Mexico to at least sound like they're going to begin to do something with the migrants.
Oh,
I guess they've already broken up
Holman.
What's it called? The whole bunch of people that are coming. What's that called?
The migrants?
No, but it's called the mass of people. There's a name for the mass of people. They're already broken up. They've already decided that, we better turn around because this is going to be a little rough.
Nice.
But there's already stuff happening. He's talking about making Canada the 51st state. He was talking to the PM of Canada today about that.
Yes.
So many great things already happening. Just love that. Let's go to
caravans.
Caravans. Thank you. Oh my God. I was having a brain fart. I probably said caravan like 1,000 times. And then these are confirmations not required, which is just great. Let's see. Who do we have on this list that we want to talk about?
Thomas Homan.
Oh, there he is.
And Elon.
Well, let's go to Tom Homan. What are your thoughts on him right off the bat?
So every time I heard about this mass deportation, I kept saying to Andy and to myself, where are they going to go? Like, we keep saying mass deportations, but these countries will not take them back. So where are they going? And then I told Andy a week ago, I think I said to him, oh, I know where they're going. They're going to Gitmo. And I thought to myself, if for those of you who do not know, the only way you can go to Gitmo is if you're an FTO. You have to be an enemy combatant.
So what's
And
FTO stand?
Foreign terrorist organization. So I was thinking to myself, how are we going to designate the migrants FTOs? Homan announced today he is going to declare all of those gangs that are coming from Venezuela, Mexico, every single one of them he's going to designate them FTOs. So up until now, they have not been designated a foreign terrorist organization. In order for international terrorism laws to apply, which allows them to be sent to Guantanamo and which allows them to be subject to the Patriot Act, extrajudicial adjudication, FISA court, all of that stuff, they must be designated an FTO, a foreign terrorist organization.
That's got to make it more difficult for our lunatic governor here in California, Chicago governor, New York, to keep the sanctuary status.
It'll be entirely out of their hands.
Yeah, because now they're
once they're designated an
national
FTO,
criminals, not local criminals.
Yeah. That's it. It takes it to a completely different place. That means like deploying the military, the CIA, DIA to come and extradite them. That we're talking black hoods in the middle of the night extradition. Like no joke. Like you will see on the news crazy extrajudicial things like we did in Tora Bora in Afghanistan. Once those guys get designated, it's a completely different set of laws that will apply. And I've been waiting for those buzzwords, and I literally heard them today.
Yeah.
Awesome. So
I never would have went there.
You never would have went there?
No. You were asking me earlier.
Oh yeah.
But yes, I did hear that today, and I would have made that connection with Gitmo. Yeah. That's perfect. That's awesome.
I mean, he hasn't said Gitmo yet, but I'm telling you, that's where that's where the whole FTO thing came from. That's where that whole thing is going. Because where else are you going? There's nowhere else to send them. You know, for the ones that the country doesn't want to take back, what are you going to do? Put them in our jails? You can't. You'll overpopulate our jails.
Well, I think they would just transition some of those buildings they put for migrant holding centers to make it a little bit more secure. Put some barbed wire around them and put them in there temporarily.
You could do that too.
But oh my gosh, the Roosevelt Hotel in New York. Remember we were talking about that? Owned by the Pakistani government. They just renewed the contract for $200 million for 3 years. $200 million for 3 years. Can you believe that?
Not surprised at all.
Really?
Oh yeah. They probably use our refugee resettlement money and all these other, appropriations that we have for various purposes, emergency funds and stuff. Be like, yeah, sure. Let's put them all in one bill. That's how we settle refugees. We rent whole compounds. Landlords, slumlords, basically, that own these disgusting.
Can you imagine what that place looks like and smells like inside?
Exactly. That's exactly what happens to the resettlement zones.
I've walked past that Roosevelt Hotel several times. I was working out there for a little while. And I would go by and go, that place is famous.
Carrie said Eisenhower did mass deportations. Oh, I wonder how those worked. I'm going to look that up. Thanks, Carrie. I wonder how that worked. I bet those countries weren't as hostile as they are now. Lisa's saying Tom is my favorite. Let me just put they are terrorists, so she agrees with that. And Yvonne also thought Gitmo. And Lisa's saying she likes Stephen Miller. And Lisa's saying they should put them together with the administration and sanctuary city mayors in Gitmo.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So then we Stephen Miller, I love. He's probably the top three for me are Tom, Stephen, and Kash Patel. Are my top three of the guys that she's put in.
Oh, where's Mike
I
Waltz?
like the press secretary. The press secretary
is
amazing. She's been around for these last couple of years. Was on Fox a lot, but she's going to be great. She's going to be another McEnany.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she's going to be fantastic.
And I have another favorite of mine is the National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz, who I know personally. Also, an upstanding human being, the Green Beret.
Yep, for sure. And then we had not Cash Patel, Vivek Ramaswamy, who you've made up with. Have you made up with him?
The jury's out, as far as I'm concerned.
And Elon Musk. And so I really love this Doge, but does that still worry you a little bit with what they're planning on doing?
Well, it does. I think it's kind of cool to see.
Mm.
So they're relying on a couple of Supreme Court cases that basically say regulatory agencies created these fiefdoms. They created policies and regulations that created departments and agencies and personnel, and they had no constitutional authority to do so. And so they're going to use those cases to basically close down entire departments in regulatory agencies. So are all the dolphins now going to be covered in tar? I don't really know. So when you get a bunch of like 7 billionaires deciding the future of the country, don't be surprised if the fish suffer.
Well, I think that's where the EPA will come in, and that's why I think we have all these organizations.
He's gutting the EPA,
if
that's
you,
one of the biggest organizations.
But if you lean them, but you still have to have them do their job. You can't.
Not if you lose 12 departments.
I mean, education that needs to go. But
no, they want to gut the EPA. They want to gut major regulatory bodies, and the fish are going to be covered in tar.
They are not. They are not. I don't believe it. I think everything's going to be rosy. But I know
hell is paved with good intentions.
Those two things about just before we leave Doge, and that is the transparency part about it that they're going to put it up on.
I love cutting spending, defense spending. I love the idea of reducing the size of government. I just don't want 200,000 people unemployed at once. I don't want entire departments vacated on a whim, and you look back and you're like, oh, wait a minute, those people regulated the dolphins. You know what I mean? The turtles. You don't want entire species to be wiped out because we decided to 4 departments of the EPA were not necessary anymore. And
you're saying just because he did it to Twitter, nothing's lost by reducing the number of people at Twitter.
Right. Well, I didn't say that was okay. I don't like mass firings of tens of thousands.
But if they're sitting there picking their toes, doing nothing, I mean, as a business owner, you don't want them around. Yeah,
right.
He's absolutely right.
You have a right to do that as a business. And in the government, you could say that too. So I understand the efficiency point of view, but I just want to make sure that it's done intelligently.
Well, I think some of these lazy slobs that have been sitting around at home in their pajamas trying to pretending that they're working. When they say, all right, it's time for everybody to go back to the office, 8 to 5, show up. That
I absolutely agree with.
They will quit.
If you don't want to show up 9 to 5 like everybody else, you have to quit. Or you're fired. Totally have no problem with that.
All right. Last, I want to talk about my friend Pete Hegseth that Carrie just brought up, actually.
Yes.
That's one of them I wanted to talk about. I love Pete. I don't know.
He's a great Christian.
I read his book.
A great family man.
Mean, sounds like he possibly made a little bit of bad decision with an event. He is here in California with some woman. With some woman. And I don't believe. I mean, every time they really hate somebody, the left, the deep state always likes to say that he raped somebody. Look what they did to the Supreme Court.
Neil Gorsuch.
No, him, but also the
Clarence Thomas
and the white guy. Remember, they accused him of rape too, and they never found the victim. There was never 3 people in the same room that could say that person was there. What's his name? Somebody will bring it up. But that was his big thing. But that's their go-to. It always is.
Yes. Yeah.
But they never come up and they say, well, he was never. The police completely investigate it here in California. We have great police departments in California.
Yes.
Because I was a police officer. Of course, I think California is the best police departments. They completely investigated and found no wrongdoing.
Yeah.
But yet they keep bringing it up like, well, yes, but he's a rapist. I heard somebody say it today. Somebody said it to him like as he was walking down the hallway. What do you think about you're being accused of rape? No, he was accused of sexual assault, but it was unfounded by the local law enforcement, thoroughly investigated.
He wasn't indicted, or he wasn't.
No, he ended up paying her off.
Kavanaugh,
thank you. Ended up paying her off to kind of keep her quiet, which all politicians, movie stars, wealthy people do to say, just go away. I'll give you $100,000, whatever it is. I don't know how much he gave her, but that happens everywhere. Just because he did that doesn't mean that he's guilty. He's just saying, I don't need the aggravation. Can you just go away? And it's a good, they try. Look what they did to Trump over something that he didn't do. So I don't believe it. I believe that, if possible, he probably did have a little fling at, and he was just trying to fix it. So that, who hasn't?
People in glass houses should not throw stones.
Right. But since then, he has a great family. You ever seen a picture of his family? The one
Beautiful.
thing, they're a bunch of white people.
Yes.
Living on a farm. But he's a great Christian. Love that guy. I love everything. And I just one of the books I have of his, which I really love. I just want to read the last paragraph. This is what I just want people to know how he ends a book. And the paragraph's not too long. I'll read it really quickly. We've heard it before, and this is about a battle for the American mind. It's about our education, our horrible education here in the United States. We've heard it before. Get married, have lots of kids, and raise them in Christian homes. To that, I add this: never let them set foot in progressive government schools. Break the cycle. Instead, join a movement, an insurgency that contributes to something that will outlast your life. In an upside-down world, classical Christian education is the only comprehensive educational model that can restore our Western Christian paideia and give our kids and grandkids at least a fighting chance to save America and Christendom. Join the insurgency and then spread the word.
I love it.
Love that guy.
I love that he restores the word Christendom too.
Yes.
I love it.
And so I just really look forward to him getting into that military and making it a killing machine, as it should. Mm-hmm. With some biblical values added to it. And I don't mind that he doesn't want women on the battlefield.
Is that what he said? I didn't know.
Yeah, he's really against having women in the on the battlefield. He doesn't think that they should be there. It's not a sexist thing. Look at World War II. How many women were on the battlefield? They were the nurses generally, or they were doing other work that was necessary. But in the battlefield, and I can attest as a police officer, I just want to visit with this for 1 second. I'm telling you, I have no problem with many of the women that I work with on the police department. Many of them were fantastic, but where they lacked was when we were can I say the S word? The Shiat. When the Shiat hit the fan, that's where. Let's
ask Yvonne.
That's where.
Yvonne, were you on the battlefield?
That's where it fell apart just a little bit. And I'm telling you, I can just tell you so many stories.
She agrees with you.
Yes. When the pursuit would start, and if I had my the female backup, and there were only, when I was working, there were maybe, I don't know, 3%, 5% maybe women. But if you were with one, if I ended up going in foot pursuit, I was the one running, and she would jump in her car and then try to figure out where.
Okay, but we watched Lioness, right?
Yeah.
Well, don't you think some of you tolerate some of those? Aren't some women like men?
I never worked with one, not at the Anaheim Police Department. I love all you that I work with at Anaheim Police Department. But in the fight, I was in a fight with 3 major fights where my backup was a woman, and they were no help at all.
Interesting.
I was in a foot pursuit, and I chased the guy all by myself because she's told me later, she goes, I don't chase people.
Right, but couldn't you have found, wouldn't there be a man that would have said the same thing?
There were some very poorly selected men.
Right?
Yeah.
But if a woman could get past the same exact training as a man, you don't think?
I've not seen it, but it's not possible.
Oh, really?
We had.
So you say like the movies are fake? No, I'm just asking.
Yeah, someday we'll have a woman as a SEAL, Navy SEAL. The workout regiment that we see some of these women now in some of these sports, the extreme sports and things like that. You're seeing some women do some really tough work, but I'm just saying, the desire to fight and kill somebody tends to be more a manly thing. Women aren't necessarily. I know killers.
The fact that the overwhelming majority, yes, but I'm saying, are they incapable of competing? Or you're just saying it's better not to try to put each of them to the test. Like as a general rule, it should just be policy not to allow them.
I just think that it's much better not to have them.
Okay.
Because there may be 1 or 2, but you're going to put a lot of effort with hundreds of them to find 2. And that's the problem. Are they out there? I believe that it is possible they're out there, but with all the ones that I worked with, I was usually fighting alone, chasing alone.
Oh,
wanting to-
interesting. Yvonne brings up
Yep.
a really interesting point. She says that men get distracted unnecessarily. So it triggers
Wow.
the male instinct to try to protect the woman. Is she okay? Is she safe? Where is she? Is she in the way? I love that because I could
Yep.
totally see that. So that it's hard for her to keep up and it's hard for them to have to be distracted by worrying about whether she's keeping up.
Yep.
And Lisa Wood says, Pete makes it that anything that gets in the way of the mission killing of the enemy can be anything sexual between a man and a woman. And you never know what can happen. And that's a problem.
You get
Makes
that
sense.
too. Yeah,
That too.
There's a lot of issues that come up.
But then you have men and men. That'd be the same situation.
So then you fire them.
Yeah, isn't that part of the whole don't ask, don't tell? Like if you find out,
Yeah.
then you do get terminated or something.
It's quite possible. I worked with a gay man and he was perfectly fine. It's there's the mentality of the fight, of the aggression, of the warrior spirit. I'm sure there. I mean, in the Bible, there's great warrior women. There are, but Deborah was a leader.
Yeah,
She wasn't necessarily out there on the battlefield.
she led them into battle, but did she actually chop up people?
Yeah, don't know.
No, not
Yeah.
that I know of.
That's the difference.
Strategic mind.
Yeah, I mean, in the academy, we had the women's wall and we had the men's wall because the women couldn't make it over the men's wall.
Oh,
And when you're running after somebody and you get up to a 6-foot wall, the wall doesn't go, oh, there's a woman with you, and then
no,
go
no,
lower.
I get it.
Yeah.
No, I was saying if they could keep up
Yeah.
with the exact same standards.
Yeah. I mean, that's just my experience, and again, I think that there's probably one or two of them out there, but you'd have to go through a lot of women to find that one or two,
Gotcha.
just so you can say that you
Anybody on Instagram that we need to answer?
did. Well, my ex-mother-in-law was on earlier. Donna, nice to see you. I just didn't get a chance to say hi. Warren Waterworth was on. He loves Cash Patel.
Nice.
Yeah, and
Lisa's agreeing with me. She did ride into battle. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I know she rode into battle. The question is, was she do any head chopping?
Yeah, that I don't know. But again, out of the whole Bible, there's one or two women.
Well, and the one that ended up killing the leader of the opposition army was a woman, but she did it when he was asleep, and she drove a stake through his head.
See,
Yes.
Justice 33 is on.
Yes, I agree, Andy. Maybe one or two women could compete.
Yep.
Okay, where's
some other names I can't pronounce that are on there, but thank you for joining us on Instagram. We have a lot of viewers on Instagram. That's awesome. Love you guys. All right,
let's close
we
out.
We covered everybody that we wanted to cover. I think
we did.
That's pretty good. You
We
did
did.
good, Schnugs. And you didn't panic when we had the little glitchy there.
I didn't.
No, you stuck with it. Love that. Who we need to pray for? Anybody give any prayer requests?
Not that I.
Did I sound sexist? It's
Yeah,
been
of course
my
I did.
experience.
But
Well,
but you agree that it's.
of course you did.
Yeah.
I'm sharing my experience.
Right.
Yes, they were great at rape scenes with children. There's plenty of things that they were fantastic with.
Like
But-
washing the dishes.
But like I said, but I was kind of comparing when you get to war. My experience in law enforcement is when we were in war, they weren't quite ready.
I hear you.
All right. Just want to make sure. I don't want everybody to be mad at me because I know we have mostly women watching.
Whether they get mad or not, it's irrelevant. It's your opinion.
And we need to protect women. Our job as men is to protect women and children,
Yes.
not take them to the battlefield with us. I don't think God called for us to do that. Some women just had to step up because the women were weak.
Carrie's saying, I don't think Andy was sexist.
Thank you. Thank you, Carrie. I love you.
I mean, but I'm sorry, Carrie, but honestly, by definition, isn't it sexist to believe that women can't? I'm not saying it's wrong sexist, but isn't the definition of sexist believing that one gender or another cannot do something?
No, I call it, I'm thinking biblically.
Is it
Men,
biblically
God
sexist?
wants men to protect women and children.
No, but
Everybody
you
has a
said, do I
role.
sound sexist? And I
No.
think by definition, it is sexist, but I'm not saying it's wrong.
People call us homophobic because we say the Bible says that. We're not being homophobic. We're telling people what the Bible says. The Bible says women and men.
Are different. Yes,
Are
absolutely.
different,
But it
and-
didn't say women can't fight. The Bible does not say women can't fight.
You just don't see-
Anybody have a verse or something that they want to cite to me, go right ahead. But it doesn't say women can't fight.
They didn't say they can't. Just not as good as men. It's not their role. We step into
Ooh.
things that aren't our role all the time. Like as a single father, I had to step into the mother role
Right.
because I had to.
I had to step into the father
But was I
role.
that great at it? No. Were you great at being the father?
No.
No.
Or the mother.
So that's not sexist. That's just the way.
Still kind of iffy whether I'm good at either.
Before we leave, I got to say, I'm going to say this all the way up to December 10th and past, is that, you didn't bring your book to show everybody. You don't want to show them because it has a line on it?
No, I
So
don't
it's
mind
not for
showing him.
Go get it real quick.
Okay.
Go get your book. I just want, while you're gone, I'm going to talk nicely about you. No, I got to say, and I told Hedieh, one of the first things I thought as I read her book, because I hadn't read it, and there's passages about me in there too, but that's not why I'm saying this. And I know you're saying right, but I was riveted to the pages of the book. I couldn't put it down. Even the pages that I wasn't on, I was riveted to. Here's the first sample. This line just says it's not for resale, but this is the cover. It's going to be matte, so you won't see that shininess. The book is fantastic. There's the back of the book with my beautiful wife on there. But this book is, I love this book.
Oh, you're a sweetheart. Thank you.
I get lots of books that I've only opened like 2 or 3 times and couldn't get through, but I couldn't stop reading it. I just wanted to see, a couple words, and then all of a sudden I kept turning. And then as I'm reading it, I'm thinking, and I lived much of this book, not the whole thing, but much of this book. And I was going, they're never going to believe this book. It seems unbelievable. It really is unbelievable.
Oh,
Just our time together seems almost unbelievable.
right.
But the rest of your story and what you went through in your early years and your time in the government and overseas and, getting shot at and bombed. I'm so happy you didn't get exploded.
Get killed. Don't get dead.
Don't get dead. Glad you did not get dead. But the book is awesome. You guys are going to love reading this book. So December 10th, make sure you're ready to get that 99 cent. Remember, the 99 cent is just what we need for you guys to do for us. And then later on, you can get the paperback version later on. But I say for us because it helps with, obviously, the broadcast to get the word out there and what we're doing here.
Yeah.
It'd be great. But I loved it. You did a really good job.
Thank you.
So proud of you. It's fantastic. All right. I just had to say that.
Thank you, love.
All right.
Okay, we love you guys.
Read. Lisa said, John.
Well, Andy hasn't read that cover to cover.
I'm pretty close. I think I got halfway through.
Did you?
And that is so rare for me to get.
Oh.
I can read a book if I want to.
For me, it's extremely rare.
Yeah.
I haven't read your book.
Mine's half that size. That's because I dedicated it to my ex-wife.
Yeah, see? After the first page, I couldn't read it. Oh, my goodness. She says, heck yes, I am. Hedieh, I must sign it.
Yes.
You're a sweetheart. Thank you, Lisa.
All right, let's go.
Oh, Lord, thank you. Thank you for this great nation of ours. Thank you for hearing our prayers, for giving us wonderful people to lead us. We hope we're looking forward to all that you're going to do in and through us. Bring strong resolution in our hearts and in our spirit to be the watchman on the wall, Lord, to watch over your precepts and your commandments, and to remind people of faith in the Lord and our obedience and our allegiance to Jesus Christ. And may we be the voice of reason. May we be the voice of righteousness. May we empower Christ-like qualities to draw others close to you. Bless all of our friends that are suffering, Lord, that have sickness or disease in their bodies, that are suffering from sorrow, loss of family members, for Carrie losing Hedieh, and others who are suffering from the loss of their prodigals, missing them, wanting them to come back to the Lord. We ask for blessing also for our Pastor Bob and his wife Becky and their family and the struggles that they're going through, Lord. Lift them up, anoint them, expand their territory, Lord. We're so grateful for them. We're so grateful for all of our pastors across the country, for Pastor Jack as well. Lord, this is a beautiful time to celebrate the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ and all that he has done, and for the sake of his blood that runs through our veins, Lord. We are the sons and daughters of the Most High God as a result of all that he has done for us, Lord. Thank you. It's in the mighty name of Jesus that we ask all things. Amen.
Amen. All right, my friends, that was fun going through that.
Yeah.
that
Thank
list.
you for joining us.
All right. We love
You guys. God bless.
Let's take care.
Bye.